¿Cómo se dice mariposa en inglés?
You say lift or elevator.
¿Seguro?
Of course, you see. Both go floor to floor.
Para fiestas y posadas. Welcome. Today I have a fun one, as always. So the words that we will be talking about today will be ver, which is to see. And this one is an interesting one if you have watched some of the other videos. So for example, comer, to eat, right? You might remember that comer comes from comer. Or if you saw the other video on to believe or creed, credo, creer, which stopped just one step before the final heritage word, you can probably already guess it was a longer sound, so we're going to double up the vowels. So ver used to be ver, but then syncope, right? And we will have beber. Now, two things are going to happen here. Remember, every verb in Spanish will end with an R. That is because the vowel at the end dropped. Now, out of tradition, we will spell the Latin form in capital letters. And there's the final vowel that dropped. But now the question is, what happened here? Well, it's interesting because this E is actually a vowel lowering from a short, unstressed I in Latin. Therefore, it comes from here. So usually, if there was an unstressed I in Latin, sometimes it would drop, depending on the position. Sometimes it would lower. It all depends on the position. So that's what we have right here. Now, keep in mind the stress is here. This is why this does not drop. Right? Later on, we'll see some other words where it does. Or if you watched the other word with comer, to eat, and you saw comestible, edible, we have an I that dropped there, and I explain why. Now, back to this. So the verb ver, as we know it now, this entered the Spanish language around 1140. And you will notice a pattern with some of the other verbs that went through the same derivation. It is around the same time when this process was complete, to say. Now, we have something else. There's a lot of other derivations. So for example, vidente comes from videns, and you can see the vid with the suffix ente, right? So if you know somebody that sometimes has premonitions or sees the future, well, there you go. To see. That's where it comes from. But it's not just that. If we take this verb, for example, right, the word, and we get rid of the suffix, and we add a different suffix, well, we get vista, which is a view. Or, very common in, for example, American English, a vista. If you have ever been to California, for example, there are a lot of places with beautiful, beautiful sceneries. Many of them up in mountains, very beautiful. And you will see the signs off the road that will say Vista Point. And that's a place where if you are driving, visiting California, you should really consider stopping in a safe area and just enjoy the scenery. But that is what we have. So this is a view because it comes from to see or to view. We have other derivations, for example. Provisión, provision. Well, if you think of vision, television. They are all related. It all has to do with view, with sight. It all has to do with sight. But not just that. What about to visit? Visitar. Or your visitor. La visita, el visitante, for example. So your visitor is the person that visits you. Who's the person that visits you? Well, that's the person who comes to see you. Ver. And that's the relationship with all of these words. And you can go ahead and write in the comments all the other words that you think are related, and more than likely you are probably going to be right. Just change some suffixes and prefixes and you will find the relationship with words. So again, videre gave ver, which is to see, around 1140. If we change suffixes, for example, we'll take vid, ente, right? Somebody who can see into the future. If we change another suffix of this other one, we have vista, which is a view. Provision, vision related. To visit, or someone who visits you, is somebody who comes to see you. Well, this being said, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you enjoy many others as well. Thank you very much, and we'll catch you in the next one.